businesses that leverage systemization and holistic performance strategies within the coaching industry can see revenue growth of over 30%. Enter our guests, Holly and Chad Ogstadt of Quantum Impact, who have lived this statistic. Starting from a challenging point in 2013, when Holly was in a hospital bed, uncertain if she could ever walk again, they built a company that transformed not only their lives, but also the trajectory of countless coaching businesses. Quantum Impact is a testament to its journey, helping coaches make an authentic impact while achieving remarkable growth. Today, they share how combining systems and holistic wellness can revolutionize coaches' entire business model. Prepare for an episode filled with transformative insights as Holly and Chad reveal the strategies behind their success. Hello.
Well, thank you for having us. This is so exciting.
I love this combination of business and systems. We're very systems focused at BC & Associates as well. And the holistic wellness. I always joke that my mother, she is a nurse, but she's like a witch doctor because she has a doctorate in spiritual coaching. She knows Reiki and all the things. And so I love this combination of the two, having a system and holistic wellness. So tell me a little bit about your journey, how you got to this place, because it sounds like there was a pretty impactful moment back in 2003 that kind of triggered stuff.
Yeah. So 2013 was when I initially started my business online. I was vice president of a marketing company and had a neurological switch that I authentically have struggled with for at least a good 10 years or so, where I was in a hospital. They told me I may not ever walk again. My career outside of being online was I couldn't go back to that. And so that was really my journey of like how to grow a business online. Fast forward a few years, I actually met Chad in the first industry that I was in. He was like the leader. We were in affiliate marketing back at the time, and he was the leader, and we just connected. And so when we came together in 2017, 2017.
You'll know why it's
We joined forces. We decided to leave the affiliate marketing space and really create our own things. We started off as an agency working with everybody. And then that nervous system stuff worked in the background and eventually took me down until there was no other option but full on absolute healing.
I like to start our story in 2017 17. So we started working our agency. We started getting Facebook ads clients because it was really easy back then. But we didn't know what we were doing. We were getting clients and we were getting some results and it was cool. And then we were like, you know what? We can just go nomadic, is laptop lifestyle, and just go. And we were on the road and doing the nomadic thing, and we completely ran out of money. And we have an accountant that lives in Orlando that's just an amazing person. And we called her and we were like, yeah, we're out of money. And she's just come live with me. And I'm like, what? Okay. So we just showed up and the grandson got moved to the couch. We got put into the grandson's room, like a 13-year-old stinky bedroom. That's what we were in. She had an extra office, which was awesome. And so it was just like grind 24/7 to try to get the money back. And I remember just grinding our faces off, just hunting around groups for clients, and nothing was happening. And I remember going to an event events change your life. And this event was all about integrity, and not as integrity as morality, as something wrong or something, but as being your word. And we're like, holy crap, like we need to get in integrity in so many areas of our life. So we're like getting in communication with all these people that were out of integrity, saying, hey, we don't have the money now, but we'll take care of this when we have the money. And literally 5 days later, we got our like $2,000 client and then a $3,000 client. And then randomly out of nowhere, we had a friend call us. She was at an event. She's like, hey, I have this person. They need a funnel. And could you do it for $12,000? Like, I think we could probably do that funnel. I think, I don't know.
Give me some
hope and we'll see if we can make it in that budget. And so got that $12,000 sent over, and then it just landslided from there. And so I was just still hustling, getting more clients, and Holly got to deliver all of them because she was like made all the funnels. And our leadership wasn't quite at the level of where it is now.
Eventually, I was doing all the funnels. I also had taken on a sales closing position so that we could just get whatever it takes. We are entrepreneurs at heart. We work with coaches, but we'll do what it takes. And I just finally, like, my dream had turned into a nightmare. It was just a really low place. And I remember one day I had back-to-back sales calls. I'm working on the funnels. I'm barely getting any sleep. And then just things just literally went, and I was sliding down a wall.
Called 911, ambulance comes, have no idea what's happening. She starts convulsing. Get to the thing. They basically said, you guys are like just potheads or drug addicts just wanting to get drugs. So that was fun.
So we just went the whole holistic route.
Yeah.
So
So
we
we
chose-
basically just went, you know what? I didn't like doctors before this, but it just really cemented my beliefs. And we come back and you were like, okay, we need to figure out how to solve this thing, but we also have a bunch of money. So what do responsible adults do? So we decided to go live on the beach and try to figure out how to get this health thing
There's healing
from
on the
the
beach.
beach.
Come on.
Yeah.
It's my favorite place. There's something very connecting and soul lifting at the beach in the water.
Yeah. But now she still has to deliver all these funnels
Mhm.
from the beach. And so then we got a same client that offered or gave us the referral for the $12,000 client, invited us to come sponsor an event in California. At first we didn't want to go, but she convinced us to go. We show up and it changed our life. There was a guy there that said something that just, when you hear about niching for your business, the way we've always heard is do all the people you can get easiest results for. Easy results, have the money to pay you,
Go have at it.
go have at it. But he said something, is that do what you love in the service of people that love what you do. And that just, and the guy's name is Steve Fiber. It was just game-changing advice, and to the point of, it was funny because the client that invited us there, we realized that, so she was one of the people that came, and then we invited another client that lived in San Diego, and she was a brain coach, a neural performance coach. And so we had the idea, the kind of the publicist that really was out for herself, which great person, but just very about that. And then we had this really impact-driven coach that just really cared about getting results and transformation for a client. We're like, you know what? We are going to we want to work with more of them.
Mhm.
And
It's really where we put our stick in the sand, so to speak, while we were at the beach. But it's how could we take all of our gifts and really make a difference and have that ripple effect with people? We made that decision, and that's what it was. We are engulfing ourselves into transformation for ourselves. There's clearly something that needs to be done within our own self, within our leadership, with healing, with my body. I learned it was such an awakening time of how important alignment is, how important nervous system regulation is, how important all of these aspects were to be able to hold yourself and be able to hold the space for all of it. When you put the intention out there, and this is what I'm doing, this is who I'm doing it for, I'm not going to settle for anything else in my life. I feel like coaches just started coming to us. Right? And we started working with coaches. And as I was healing my brain, so I worked with a functional neurologist for about 2.5 years of really body mapping and going through my own trauma healing. And I worked with hypnosis. You name the modality, and we were there. Right? Through this process, I literally, and we share this because it was one of the most powerful experiences, is I had a really big seizure, and it actually wiped out a lot of my memory. It lasted about 30-40 minutes.
I came into the house and she was still seizing, which that's never really happened. Usually it's one, we didn't leave each other a lot, but this was just a different situation. So I'm dumping CBD down her throat. I'm giving her electrolytes. I'm giving her mouth to mouth. I'm doing everything to get her to come out of this. Finally stopped seizing. And then it took a while to finally wake up. And she said something just completely dropped my stomach. She said, "Who are you and where am I?" And so she'd completely lost her memory to the point where she didn't know she had kids. She didn't know what we did for a living. She didn't know we skipped it, but we just got somewhat responsible and went back and lived with my mom to try to work on the health stuff. And I remember that first week, it was rough because it was Like it was to the point where she didn't know what to do. We had to use Trello to map out her day. This is what you do. This is what your morning looks like. This is what your afternoon looks like. And then there was a point in time in the evening that she was staring at the wall crying because she didn't know what she was supposed to be doing. And it was just really crazy. And so there was a point where we were like, you know what, we're going to go to social media with this and just share what we were going through. And she made a post that said, hey, this is what happened. If I've touched her life in any way, let me know. And all these people responded.
Wow.
And she was like, you know what, I need to get back into our business. And so she was like, what were we doing in our business when this happened? And I'm like, we were getting ready for a webinar on Thursday. And she's like, oh, okay, I need to get back to that. I'm like, okay.
So it was the craziest thing that I didn't have any stories. The only thing that I knew in that time is that I was here to do really big things for humanity. And I know that sounds like crazy, but I didn't know anything else, but I'm here to shift humanity. And then I saw these people and how I've impacted their life. I'm like, I need to do this. So it was actually part of my healing process. I'm laying out this webinar and I'm going through it. It caused me to go through in social media. It caused me to find these pictures that we had on our computer. I had some of the skeleton already created and map out some of these things. And in doing this process, I want to shorten it just a little bit, but still keep the juice in there, is I got to see without the stories, right? Because every single thing that we do in our life, it holds some sort of story and in our subconscious, in our body, in our cellular memory. And I didn't have any of that. I could literally do the splits at this time. It was insane. And I could never do the splits before. Yeah. So it's very interesting in that connection of the stories that we hold in our body and literally how our body functions. Very fascinating work. And without these stories, I could look at things from a very objective sense. So I started looking at what worked, what didn't work. What did this client do? What did this client do? And it was actually by putting that webinar together, I was able to really start looking. And you ever see that meme with the conspiracy theorists with this string over here and this string over here? That was kind of me. We had this big whiteboard. We have a whiteboard over here now, but we had this big whiteboard in our room. It was like the whole room was a whiteboard. And I'm just like writing things down. And it's actually how we created our entire model was through this process. And we've helped hundreds of coaches through this model and really be able to transform their coaching business and create incredible impact in people's lives. So it's funny that these things happen to us, but there's such a shift when you use them to be happening for you and not to you.
There was a really funny part when we were doing the webinar and we got these awards for like $10,000 in our business. And I remember she goes, and we got these like coaster things, like, and we were getting them on. It's so funny.
Yeah.
I have two questions that kind of came up as you were chatting. So I joke that we're marketing therapists when we work with an entrepreneur. Like we uncover a lot of stuff, and actually it can be a little bit emotional to get back to the joy and the reasons why we do what we do. I've been in business for 12 years, and up until last year, I think my clients created my business. I wasn't in charge in creating my business. They came to me. I said yes. Very similar stories in that. And then I got to the point where I feel like I was dragging some people across the finish line. And there's no joy in this anymore. Like I wanted to Marie Kondo the whole thing. If it didn't spark me joy, I wanted to get rid of it. Put myself through a very similar process that I put my clients through. And it really is about getting back to the reasons why we love what we do and who we love to serve. That to me is so powerful. And I think we forget as entrepreneurs, we know we love it and we know we're good at it, but why? The main reason of like when it becomes synchronous to the universe, like what I'm supposed to be doing, what I'm supposed to be doing, feels really good. So that is an amazing like story of how you got there. And I think probably that comes from, for me, a very similar situation. When I was 19, I got a very bad, mysterious virus and I was planning my funeral because I was not getting better and I was very sick. And I think at 19, to realize your own mortality and how quickly it can all be taken away changes and shifts your mind in a way that says, I don't have time for this nonsense. I need to be doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I remembered all the things, but it was still a huge shift on what's important and why it's important, and that I won't settle for anything less than that because it could all be taken away tomorrow. And that's what happened when I got sick. Like one day I was fine and one day I was not. And that's a really scary, like you said, it was a moment for you. Like in one moment, everything shifted for you. And I don't think people realize how precious that is in some ways, but it's a gift. And you were given some insight that a lot of people haven't been given in this life. So one of my questions is always, what's the biggest challenges you've overcome? I think we talked about it. Done. Check. Okay. So what do you think has been the biggest thing you guys have learned throughout the process? What's the thing that all the people you've impacted, all the people, businesses and coaches you've worked with, and then your own experience, what's the thing that's the most important you learned about that in life? What is the thing you want to make sure everybody knows?
Yeah. So for us, or for me, in the sense of, there's like the congruency of, if we're helping people build systems, right? Coaches to get clients, we need them too. And there's so many people that they help other people do systems, or they sell us something, but they don't have actually that thing for themselves.
I always joke that like the cobbler's kids had no shoes. A lot of marketers don't do marketing, but really in reality, we should have Louis Vuitton shoes. Like, why are we not giving ourselves Louis Vuittons? Like, we can do this for ourselves, right?
Bottom, baby.
That I think as business owners, we need to also center that for ourselves, not to forget that we deserve the Louis Vuittons, not the no shoes kind of concept. In what you're doing now and where you've been, right? We've talked about that, but what do you see as the trends and things that are happening, and where are things going with what you're doing with coaching?
Yeah, for me, it's switching over from getting a bunch of cash up front to getting more recurring revenue, and like really just working with and getting amazing results for clients. For a while, we were just getting paid in fulls, which is great. Creating something more leverage that we can handle more clients. It's the one thing we attempted to do was create a program that was both. We were trying to have our cake and eat it too. It was like one-on-ones and really being really on it with our clients, and try to get a bunch of clients.
Mm-hmm.
It's really challenging. And so it's now we have a really high-end one-on-one, and then we have a leverage program that can just handle a bunch of clients.
Nice.
I think where I'm excited about like how we're shifting and growing and evolving in this next phase is I've always had this vision ever since I was a little girl. I would just vision, or I would just hear he'll speak to nations. And I just had this passion for events. And I've always wanted to do events. Before Chad and I were here, I would be in my mirror with my hairbrush speaking and just visualizing this huge crowd. And so we're actually having our first live event here in a couple of weeks. It's the monthly reoccurring. It's being able to expand our capacity to serve even more people. It's having the events. It's going for it and being audacious and having the grit and the resilience and the freaking like, this is the vision. We're not settling. We are in good health. Chad's man cold. He's getting better every day. Mm-hmm. But overall, we are in incredible health. And it's time to really 10x the vision and go at it. So that's exciting.
A couple of things there too. And you said some stuff earlier too about intention, setting an intention. And I think when we talk to our clients, we talk about your legacy. What do you want your legacy to be? And to have a true vision for that and create it, be very clear, crystal clear in your vision so that you can make that happen for yourself. I don't know if it's just our society. Maybe you have some thoughts on that. Why aren't we more crystal about our visions? Why do we get stuck in the mud of life? What is it that happens and that makes us accept something less than that?
I don't know if I can answer that because I feel like I've taken myself out of society. I don't have normal people that all of the people in my world, which is why I love working with coaches, is they have vision and they know that there's more and they're willing to do the work on themselves and they're willing to go full at it. And I surround myself with visionaries and people who want more. And I honestly, if we work on like not to get too wooey, but like an energetic I just don't attract normal people who don't have visions anymore. I don't know why. I don't understand it.
I think there's something to that. And I think when you even said, this is who I want to work with, like all of a sudden they started coming into your orbit. They come into your orbit because of your intention, but also you become very aware of those people because you have the intention. right? It's like when you buy a blue car, all of a sudden all the cars are blue on the road. It's very
Yeah.
similar to that. Like all of a sudden you know how it talks, how it looks, how it acts. So you're like drawn to that going forward. So I think that's really cool. And it's totally wooey and I'm here for it. So that's good. It's not everybody that wants to talk woo, but I think there's a lot of energy in that. And when we talk to our customers, we come from a very practical standpoint, but it is about intention and it is about awareness and it is about clarity. And the clearer you can get on who you serve, why you serve, all of the things you've talked about, the clearer the path becomes to get to the vision in the end of the road. And yes, there's the work involved. Like it's not going to be cake, but I think you're going to enjoy the journey a whole heck of a lot more.
Yeah. Clarity is power.
Yes. Yes. So talk about the systems versus the marketing side of it when you help coaches. Like there's two kind of sides of your business from what I understand, right? Well, there's the systems and there's the whole holistic side of it, but there's marketing involved. So talk a little bit about that aspect since I like marketing. I'm a nerd for the marketing stuff.
Yeah. So it's really about like two different types of systems. It's like the attraction systems and then the enrollment systems. So you need both. A lot of people they're attracting a big audience, but they don't have a conversion event. They don't have a nurturing process. They don't have anything like that in place. They don't have a place to have conversation. There's no system in like, okay, if this and this happens, then this and this happens. It should look like a funnel, and that could be the normal looking funnel of opt-in to webinar or whatever, or it could look like a social media funnel where it's friend request, Facebook group, conversation to book call. So and then really what does the nurturing look like? Like, how are you able, because if you have to manually build relationships with individual people over and over again, it just takes too much work, right? You need leverage in your nurturing and you need leverage in your attraction. And then, so that's what I got about that.
So we call it customer journey. You guys call it funnel. So you have to know your customer persona, and then how do you connect at every level of that customer journey? And is it building is it building trust? What are you doing along the journey that is the intention of that step, whatever that looks like, right, of the funnel? So that's the wording we use, but it's very similar in that and how important the connection is and how you can only have so many one-on-one conversations in a day as a person. So you need to be able to, how do you reproduce this experience in this new space? It's not new, but newer space of social media connections and things like that. And your email marketing, and what does that look like? And what kind of thing generate the lead magnet to get them to opt in, to want to hear more about you? All very important. And you can't do it by yourself. Like you need a system for sure to stay sane in the process. Otherwise, it's like in the boat, you're plugging holes and trying to figure it out. So what is your favorite marketing strategy for your business? What do you like to use for your business? Because I know, because I've been watching, there's some videos and different things that you all do that I think are really clever and impactful.
Yeah, Holly's crushing it with the reels.
I have fun with them. So I've been in marketing since 2004. So like super authentically, there was a point when I'm like, I can market in my sleep. Grow your business to six figures. You need 20K. Okay. Grab me a cup of coffee and let's get to work. But it started losing its oomph for me. And so I'm like, okay, what can I do to start bringing like the joy back? Because if you don't have that, then none of it matters, right? You create a job, and I'm not out to create my dream into a job. I don't know about you. For me, part of our process, we talk about having your cold audience, cold to enrolled, right? Like how do you take this cold audience and enroll them as clients? So for me, I personally love doing shorts and I love creating content. I think we work really good in a synergy where I'm really great at nurturing and building the relationship. And Chad's really good at bringing that relationship into the next level. So we really are like a super team in that area. So I warm them up and then Chad has a conversation and some into his clients, and it works really well.
It's nice to have the tag team with each other. A lot of entrepreneurs do it all alone. So having the tag team can really be beneficial as long as you really like each other, because I can only imagine living, working, and all the things 24/7 can become a little bit of a unique situation. I'll just say that.
Yeah, I guess the thing that I enjoy the most is when somebody's gone through a video and they raise their hand. They're like, wow, this is awesome. I'm interested. And then I can have a conversation with them, qualify them, and then book a call. It's like when somebody's ready to go and I can just walk them through that process, and then they basically are selling me on how committed they are. That's my favorite part of the game.
Yeah, I love the creativity. I have fairy wings and a bow and arrow coming in the mail, I think, today. The business.
I'm going to look forward to seeing that. So one of the videos that I saw was on authenticity. And we've talked a lot about authenticity on the podcast in the previous episodes. How you personify letting authenticity into the space was really quite clever and so true. And I think most people can really relate to it. So it's very relatable content. I definitely enjoy it.
Thank you. Yes.
So we're going into the lightning round, which is where we dig into your favorite tools and things you use every day as entrepreneurs. So like I said, when we first got on this call, I said, I've never done a couple or two people before on the podcast. So this could be interesting on the round. We could probably have one or even two answers if you want. Feel game to chime in whenever you want. Perfect. Okay. So what is your favorite way to connect and network?
Facebook groups.
For me, I like live events.
What is your favorite business or marketing book?
I like 10x is easier than 2x. That's been my theme lately.
80-20 rule is good. The other one is The Ultimate Sales Machine, Chad Holmes.
I have not read that one. The 80-20 one I have read that. What's your favorite podcast?
Mine's not marketing related, but it's the only one that came up was Joe Rogan.
The Momentum podcast.
Yeah, there you
go. Ooh, I like that one too. What is your favorite business tool or app?
Canva.
Calendly? Yeah, that's all I got.
I do all the tools in the apps.
Yeah, she's the...
Canva and Calendly cannot live without them. So solid choices for both of you. What is your favorite way to refocus or reduce stress while at work?
Breath work.
We use a process called cellular alignment technique.
Mm-hmm. So about 2 episodes ago, we had a Zen priest on, and she talked about the 3 breath method. And I think that has changed my life. It's so centering. It's awesome. So if you haven't listened to it, I really suggest to the listeners, go back 2 episodes. The Zen priest is amazing. What is your favorite marketing tactic?
So what's coming up for me is I don't know if it's a tactic, but I know the one thing in marketing that is timeless is building relationships.
Yeah, mine's asking questions in Facebook groups. It still works. It's crazy.
What is or who is your favorite source of inspiration?
When you ask that, I don't know who I go for inspiration.
I feel like, okay, so maybe Alex Hermosi.
I use Stephanie Ann Houston. I love that chick.
Thank you.
Who is your favorite entrepreneur to follow? Who do you learn the most from?
I would also have to say Stephanie Ann Houston.
Also probably not marketing related, but Patrick Bet-David.
I want you to think back a little bit. If you could go back before, maybe 18, 19-year-old Holly and Chad, what advice would you give those 2 souls? I want you to do it for yourself. Holly, you talk to yourself, and Chad, you talk to yourself. What advice would you give to yourself to help you get to where you are quicker, faster, more efficiently?
Buy Amazon stock?
No, you know what I mean. But that would be good advice. Apple too. Apple and Amazon, yes.
For me, it would be don't listen to what anyone else has to say. I had a big problem with that is everyone told me I couldn't do it and I was crazy and it was never going to work and all of the things. I was in a place where I always knew I'm going to talk a little bit while he was thinking about this. I always knew that what I wanted to be, ever since the AOL days when you dialed in, I'm going to age myself. when you stuck that cord into the wall. When I grow up, I'm going to be on the internet. And my mom would be like, okay, that's nice, dear. And then I worked in a bar for a while. And there's, what are you going to be when you grow up? I'm like, I'm going to work on the internet and I'm going to travel all over the place. They're like, oh, good luck with that, kiddo. So I would definitely say just tune all of that out and keep going.
How do you tell someone who's 18, 19 not to listen to anything around them when you don't even know who you are yet? That's so hard, right? You're still establishing. So how do you get the confidence and the wisdom that I think some age brings to the table? That how can a young person get that sooner than later, do you think? Surround yourself with people who support you. Yeah.
Surrounding yourself with the right people. So I'm like thinking right now, I actually have a teenager. She's 19 and in college. And one of my biggest things has been to show my kids what's possible in their life and that they could do anything. And like look at that for a while. They're like, yeah, that's mom's thing. And my daughter, actually, she's been going to the gym. She's conquered all of this stuff within herself. She's, I think I'm going to start making fitness content. I'm like, yeah, that's amazing. So there's some things that you just can't tell teenagers. You have to really live through. And I think for them, it's like really be mindful of who you're with. It'll make a big difference.
It will.
If you surround yourself with.
Completely. Yeah.
Yeah. For me at 19 is like pick a thing and just focus and just go invest in yourself and then pick a game or pick a business, whatever, and just keep going. I feel like I gave up way too many. Like I started what feels like hundreds of businesses from that time to 30 or so. And if I would have just focused on any of it, it probably would have been way more successful.
I love
that.
Like
go all in as opposed to, it's real hard as an entrepreneur. Bright, shiny object syndrome is a very real thing for entrepreneurs. We always have ideas.
Yeah, I think for me, because, and I don't know if I'm really like fast start or whatever from like Kobe or whatever, but I can get really excited about something and then I hit like the implementing or the follow through and like the details, like that becomes like a different.
That's what I'm here for.
Yeah.
You're the visionary and she's the implementer.
That's the thing though. That's what we hear and what should be normal. But no, I'm totally a visionary and an implementer. I've just had we'll blame it on trauma of being able to hold it all and to have the vision and have to do it all.
So do you think are some easy steps? If there's an entrepreneur or a coach listening, what are some things that somebody could do today, like an easy step to help their business right now? Like something easy, a low-hanging fruit.
Yeah, get really clear on who your ideal client is and where are they, and just start asking questions, connecting with them, making friends, build your following, like whatever that looks like.
And I think to add on to that too is in the morning while you're drinking your coffee or doing your morning routine, whatever your thing is, thinking, okay, this is my person. What do they need today? Okay, so a lot of times people make social media about them and what they're going through and then posting and like their business, but like getting into the person, like the unspoken truths. What are they going through? And how can you name them? What does Sarah need today? I'm going to talk to Sarah and I'm only going to talk to Sarah. And my posts aren't for anybody else but Sarah or whatever you decide to name it. And just get really, when you speak soul to soul, people feel like you know them, you hear them, you understand them. That's that know and trust that you were talking about, right? That's a key factor. So just know your people and speak directly to them. And even I tell my clients all the time, we have one who's driving in the morning. I'm like, awesome. So in your drive, start thinking about, Steve came up. What does Steve need? Go talk to Steve today in your posts and through your content.
I think a lot of entrepreneurs start out that everybody's their client and they can't spray and pray and hit everybody and all the things. You have to niche down, and it sounds scary, but the more your content resonates with that particular person, the better you're going to do. So yes. And I love that you name them, because we suggest that we actually say, pick a customer, get a picture from like their Facebook profile and put them that as the picture. So that when you're talking to them, you have a face, you have a name, as much as you can to make it a personal connection with your customers. I love that you gave them a name.
Yes.
With that. So before we go, can you share with our listeners a little bit about where they can find out more about you and keep up with your latest projects and things you have going on?
I think one of the best places, if you're on Facebook, we have a whole group for coaches. It's Coaches for Transformation
Collective.
So if you just search Coaches for Transformation Collective, we are thousands of coaches in there, all out doing big things that are out for transformation in other people's lives. That would be the best place.
So we have something called the Momentum Profit Plan. And it's essentially the step-by-step process to take people from like the cold, like basically creating your own SOPs or your standard operating procedures every day. So how to find the communities that have your ideal people, what to say, and then where to take them next, and how to get them into a group, and then have a conversation and build relationships with them there and nurture and basically get clients.
We even have a whole checklist of this, and this. Just
Yep.
This is what you need to do. Go do it.
Wonderful. As we conclude today's episode, I want to thank our guests, Holly and Chad, for sharing their wealth of knowledge and expertise and their story of how they got to where they are today and what's really important when it comes to finding the soul of your business, which I think is amazing. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Absolutely. Thank
You're
you for
welcome.
having us.
Thank you.
Your insights have illuminated our listeners' path, offering invaluable tips and strategies to enhance their entrepreneurial experience. So to our listeners, I hope you found this episode as enlightening as I did. Remember to implement the insights shared today into your own business, and don't hesitate to reach out to myself or to Holly and Chad if you have any further questions or need assistance. Stay tuned for more inspiring conversations and actionable tips to ignite your marketing journey on future episodes of the Spark and Ignite Your Marketing podcast. Until next time, keep sparking and igniting.